Hi, my name's Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes, where today we're going to take a look at a tiny game, a tiny button shy wallet game, but not just another button shy game. Oh no, this one is based on the rather wonderful board game Deep Regrets, which we've covered on the channel. And in fact, you can check out our how to play video for that main game. But today we're going to take a look at how to play this new game, and that is called Shallow Regrets. Now, this is a button shy wallet game, as you can see, and these are famous for being wonderful, portable, genuine pocket-sized games that come with normally 18 playing cards. Yes, a board game with only 18 cards. That's quite incredible, isn't it? Now, Shallow Regrets is a game by Judson Cowan, or Cowan. Butchering your name there, I do apologize, Judson. It's a game for 2 to 3 players and will last around 15 minutes. Now, what's the game all about? Well, steel your nerves and set sail on the worst fishing trip of your life. Catch as many horrifying things as you can, but push your luck too far and remorse might take the wind out of your sail. The game this is based on is really brilliant. We really love Deep Regret. So when we saw this was available on crowdfunding, my goodness, this was an absolute no-brainer to back this. Now, we've got the main game, the main wallet game, you see here, and also we've got an expansion, which is Lingering Remorse, and also a solo expansion, and this is the Fisher and the Fraud, and there's Fraud there. Now today we're going to take a look at how to play the Shallow Regrets base game, and perhaps on a future video, if people are interested, I'll have a look at how the expansion works and also how the solo mode works for this rather brilliant little card game. So let's take a look at what we get in the game and go through how to set it up and how to play. So let's take a look. Well, the first thing we have is, of course, we have the little rules leaflet, and that is going to take us through the components, the card anatomy, how to set up the game and then play in the game, and of course there how to win the game and some additional notes here. And again, just like the original big board game, the artwork in this is quite extraordinary. So we're going to have a number of cards here in play. So let's take a look at these now. You'll notice on the backs of the cards, you've got different sized shadows in the water. So if we have a look at these just as an example, you can see that this shadow is a small shadow. So this gives us an indication of how large our fish are going to be that we are trying to catch. And it gives you a hint as to the difficulty of level of what fish the cards may be. So for example, a 0 there is an easy difficulty, a 0 level difficulty, whereas this card now is a middling card. So this is a small card, this is a middling size card and has a difficulty of 1 to 2. And this is a large card which will have a difficulty of 3 to 5. Now these difficulty levels indicate the amount of strength that's going to be required of you to be able to pull those fish out of the waters. Now in the game there are going to be 8 small fish, even though they look rather scary and some of them rather large. And obviously you may think, Phil, that's not a fish, it's some sort of half-chewed foot which is really gross, as is mentioned here by the word foul underneath this card. We'll come back onto that now in a moment. So like I said, you're going to be catching many horrifying things as you do your fishing. So there's 8 small cards and there are 6 middling cards. So here we go. All looking rather gruesome and scary. And finally, there are 4 large cards. And indeed, the great white shark and the kraken. Well, you can't get much larger than that, can you? So they're the cards, but what exactly do these cards represent? Okay, so let's have a look at the card anatomy. Let's just pick this Sea Bishop card as an example. Okay, so let's just take a look at this card. Now then, at the very top we have the name of the card. So this is the Sea Bishop. We have its difficulty rating there for how to fish. This is one of the small fish, so the difficulty is 0, so it's easy to fish. This indicates the type of fish it is. In this case, it's foul, and this is going to be the number of points that you're going to get at the end of the game if you have caught this fish. And this here indicates the amount of strength that you have if you catch this fish and keep it in front of you. So if we'd caught this fish, it's going to be worth 1 point at the end of the game, and it's going to give us 1 strength for our future fishing trips. So should we come across a level 1 card, difficulty card with a level 1, then we have the 1 strength to be able to catch that fish. And here on the bottom, we have the ability of the card. If the card has an ability, I believe all of them do. In this case here, you can shuffle all your shoal cards together and deal them into 6 roughly equal new shoals. So that's going to be resetting the play area. And as you can see, the icon here means that once you use the ability, you have to exhaust the card and you can't use that card's ability again during the game. So this is your 1 use only abilities there. And like I said earlier on, this indicates the strength required to catch the fish, and the shadow, again, there is a small shadow to indicate that this is a small fish. And of course, you've got bigger shadows there indicating the middling size fish. And finally, the large shadow there indicating the large fish. So there we go. That's the card anatomy. Let's take a look at how we set up this great little game. So first things first, take all 18 fish cards. And what we're going to do, you guessed it, we're going to give these a good old shuffle. And what we're going to do then, once we've shuffled them, is we're going to create 6 3-card piles, which are going to be called the shoals. We would deal out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll do this. So we've got 6 shoals, each with 3 cards. Now, the first thing we need to do is to check to see that at least there are 3 small shadows visible at the top of each shoal. Now, if not, then we need to shuffle a shoal with the largest visible shadow. And we're going to repeat that until we have 3 small shadows visible. So here are the large cards here. So let's give these a little shuffle. And now we've got 2 small shoals visible. So let's pick up this other large one and give this a little shuffle. And pop that down there. And now we've got 3 visible. So we're good to go. Now, the player who had the most remorseful day is going to be the first player. Okay, what is the gameplay for this game? Well, starting with the first player and moving clockwise around the table, players are going to take turns fishing. Now, each turn, the active player is going to draw 2 cards, one at a time, from any shoal or shoals, and they may choose to catch one and throw the other back. Now, a little note here, some abilities specifically refer to cards or fish. Now, a card is any fish card in a shoal, whereas a fish is any fish card that has been caught by a player and is in front of them. Everything caught is a fish, even if it's an octopus or a foot, as we saw earlier on, a gruesome foot. So how do we go about fishing then? Well, each player starts with a strength of 0, and that is going to increase by the total number of fish hooks on all fish they have caught, included any exhausted fish. And if the active player's strength meets or exceeds the difficulty of the card they've drawn, then they may place it face up in front of them. And each player should make sure they spread out all their cards so that everyone can see. Now, you can only catch 1 fish a turn, even if your total strength would allow you to catch multiple. But if a player's strength is lower than the difficulty of all the cards they've drawn, then they must throw them back into the sea. And when we throw fish back into the sea, we must place it face down in one of the 6 shoals. But if there's an empty shoal, so if that was completely fished, then you must choose an empty shoal to throw the fish back into. And the second and final requirement is you may not cover a small shadow. So I couldn't throw back a fish onto here, here, or here, unless all the shoals only have small shadows on top, in which case you can throw back onto one of those. Now, that being said, let's take a look at an example of a player's turn. So let's say it's my turn. It's the very start of the game. I have caught no fish, so my strength is 0. So I can only go for the 0 strength cards. There's no point in me trying to fish for any of these cards because I don't have enough strength to pull them out of the water. So for this example, I could take this 0 level card, and perhaps I'll take this 0 level card. Now, I can take a look at the cards I've drawn. So I got a lamprey and massive eyes. They both with 1 point, and they both are going to give me 1 strength. And one is fair, and the other one, as you can see, but there, that massive eyes is quite foul. Now, let's have a look at their abilities. The lamprey's ability is we can exhaust it, and this turn we will draw an additional card. Or this ability in massive eyes here, you can look at all cards in one shoal and then return them in any order. So that's quite handy. However, this is a foul card, whereas this is a fair card. But let's go foul, is it? So if I take this card, now you can only catch 1 fish per turn, and I'm going to pop this in front of me. So let's pop this over here. Now, with any other fish then that you have left, you have to throw these back into the sea. So when we're throwing them back, we've got to check to see if there's any empty shoals. Well, there's none because we've just started, and we cannot cover a small shadow. So let's throw this into that shoal there. And now it'll be the next player's turn. So if we say this is going to be the next player, they are going to draw 2 cards. So perhaps they'll draw these 2 cards. They will take a look. So they've got the foot. Now the foot is going to be -1 points at the end of the game, but it is going to give you 2 strength points, which is going to be very handy for getting access to the bigger cards. Now the barracuda allows you to remove a 0 difficulty fish from the game, whereas this foot, you can actually give this fish to another player by exhausting it, but of course you can be giving up that strength there. So perhaps this player will take the foot and they're going to throw the barracuda back in. So throw that back in there. And then it's on to my turn. So again, I draw 2 cards. Now I've got a strength of 1. So I could take this card and this card. Now this could be a strength 1 or 2 card. If it's a strength 2 card, I'm not going to be able to catch it. Whereas the 0 strength, obviously I am going to be able to catch that one. So let's have a look what we got. And oh dear, it's a 2 strength card. So this card I'm going to have to throw back, and this card I'm going to keep. So I'll pop this in front of me, and this one is going to go back. So I'm going to drop it onto that one. And then it's the next player's turn. So this player has got a strength of 2. So perhaps they're just going to jump in because they know they're definitely going to be able to catch one of these. So we've got the oarfish there, which is going to be worth 2 points and is going to add 1 strength. Or we got the giant octopus, which is 2 points, but it doesn't add any strength. But let's have a look at their abilities. The octopus, we can swap this fish for another player's fair fish. And the oarfish there, this turn we can draw 2 additional cards. So perhaps they'll take that one and they're going to pop this back here. And now it'd be my turn. So I'll just do 1 more turn here. Just to give an example now, what we could do is we could use an ability. Now, when we use the abilities, we use them at the start of your turn. This is before fishing. Now, the active player may use any number of active abilities on non-exhausted fish cards that they've caught. So we could actually exhaust the barracuda to eat this player's foot that they've caught, removing it from the game. So now they're down to 1 strength instead of 3. And what we could do is exhaust this one as well and take a look at one of the shoals. So let's take a look at this one, and we can reorder them in any order we fancy. We'll have a look at what they're going to give us, and we can just reorganize them as we wish. And then we would do our turn as normal. Now, once a fish is exhausted to use its ability or due to any other effects, it remains exhausted for the rest of the game, even if another player takes it. The abilities of exhausted fish may never be used, but of course they still retain their values. So this, even though it's exhausted, it's still going to add 1 strength to this player. So this player would have 2 strength. It's only the ability that can no longer be used. So that's how the turns work. Now, how do we go about winning the game? Well, the game ends when all the fish have been caught, or if all players do not have enough strength to continue fishing. And what each player is going to simply do then is they're just going to take their cards that they have caught, and quite simply you're going to tally up all the points on the fish. And the player who caught the most foul fish are going to lose 2 points. So that's where the fair and foul comes into play. Now, let's say the game has ended, and these are the cards that I have. Now, I've got 1 foul card, whereas this player has got 2 foul cards. So they've got the most foul cards, and they're going to lose 2 points for that. So if I have a look here, I've scored 3 points, whereas this player has scored 5 points. However, they've got the most foul cards, so they are going to reduce that by 2, so they have also scored 3 points. So what do we do in the case of a tie? Well, the player with the highest score is going to win the game, but if there is a tie, like there is in this example, the tied player with the fewest foul fish are going to win. So in this case, because this player's got too many foul fish, I am going to win the game there. But if it was this way around, where we both got one foul fish each and we both scored 3 points, then if still tied, then we're going to share the victory. And that's it. That is how to play Shallow Regrets. Well, I gotta say, this is a really quick and wonderful and fun game to play. I love the artwork. I love all the different abilities. And I love that fishing mechanism where you've got to make sure you're going to have enough strength to be able to fish. So starting off, everybody's on 0, so you're going to be picking up the 0 strength cards and trying to see which one you're going to keep. And of course, if you're going to get any of those little fish hooks on them, that's going to add to your strength for your future fishing. So what fish do you keep? What fish do you throw back? When to use the abilities to your best advantage, bearing in mind, of course, you can only use the ability once. So this has a ton of actual game in it, even though it's only a tiny little wallet game, even though there's only 18 cards. This is a brilliant, fun little game version of an equally great game. So Shallow Regrets, I really do recommend this. Even if you've never played Deep Regrets, it's bigger, larger, cousin, as it were. This is still a brilliant fun game to play regardless, even if you don't own the original game. Really good fun. The expansions, like I said, that's going to add a solo mode into it that looks really good. I haven't had a chance to play this just yet, but I have read all the rules and everything, and it does look really good. And this is a nice little expansion here that's going to add some extra cards and a little change in the gameplay there. So if you are at all interested in knowing how the expansion works or how to play the game solo with the solo expansion, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll have a look at producing a future video on this because I really enjoy this game. So there you have it, a tremendous game again from Button Shy Games. I am a big fan of their games, as you may know if you followed on the channel. And we do have a ton of these small games. So there you go. I do hope you enjoyed taking a look at this with me. If you did, please consider hitting the old like button, and please also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because that's really going to help to build up the channel. And in the meantime, as always, thanks so much for watching. Please do take care, especially when fishing, and especially if you're pulling out any of these rather terrifying looking fish. So yes, so as always, please do take care, and bye for now.